in recent years especially, there's been such a split between politics and using the community as a point of debate, but we've split so much and no one's ever going to learn anything if we don't actually converse about what your opinion is. Because as a gay woman, I don't agree with people's opinions, perspectives and beliefs that LGBTQ plus people are less, they deserve less, but in the same way that I have a right to live my life, I personally believe that other people have the right to live theirs and have their opinions. And it's what makes the world go around. We all disagree, we all argue, we all challenge each other, and through that challenging, through that conflict, hopefully something comes out that makes the world a better place. That's the idea anyway. Obviously when it goes to things like hate speech, hate crimes, sort of trying to construct this idea that freedom of speech comes without consequence, that is a problem. But if someone has a certain opinion but is not engaging in any behaviours that threaten people, that harm people, that exclude people, that is their viewpoint, and we just have to sort of step in and, have you thought about this? Offer some statistics, because that usually kind of, the facts help people to actually, okay, it's not just what you're saying, it's here, when we step in. And I think for the network, it's difficult because we're in quite a big city, but I feel like our visibility does make people think, and we're obviously here mainly, which our mission is to support LGBTQ plus people in Nottinghamshire, but also by being visible in communities, by going around the streets, to being to Pride, to posting. I hope not only that LGBTQ plus people feel supported, but also see us and see the fact that we are just a group of volunteers that have families, that have jobs. It's really as simple as that. When you break things down amongst all the politics and the arguing and the media, it just comes down to that people are people, and hopefully by heterosexual people seeing us in communities, it might not change people's minds, but ask themselves some questions about, perspectives. And we're not here to challenge anybody or to go on a specific side of politics, because as a charity, we obviously support a lot of people that have a massive array of different views, and if we were to side with a particular politics or side with a particular politician, we don't want to exclude anybody. So we're not challenging, we're just sort of, by being visible, hoping that people ask themselves some questions. There are lots of mechanics behind these changes, which there shouldn't be. It should just be as it is, I believe. But I do think at the end of the day, it comes down to just being more compassionate towards each other, just being kinder. But like I said, when you break these things down, inclusion comes from, compassion and kindness. And I've heard a lot of people speak about sort of a lack of understanding and that sort of thing. But there are football matches that have 90,000 rules, and there are different sports teams, and there are different choices of hoovers that people select. It's not difficult. Personally, I don't think it comes down to lack of understanding. I think it comes down to a lack of compassion. And if we were to boost that, and I don't have the answers to the world, I don't know how you would do that. I feel like we're a small cog in, a very small cog in the overall change of compassion, because it's massive, isn't it? To change people's hearts. It's a difficult one, but if we can somehow just make people kinder.
It's the ignorance of not wanting to learn. It's not that you can't, it's that you don't want to.
I feel sometimes lack of understanding is sort of used as a cloak over the fact that people are just not as kind. And I do feel personally that kindness will come back to you. That if you are kind to somebody, then you will live a fuller life, and kindness will come back your way. And in same-sex marriage, adoption, these are big issues that are blown up in media and debate and politics and the big screen, but it's just normal people having children, and it's just people showing their love in a big day like everybody else. And if we can tap into that, like I said, I don't have the answers, and we don't claim to have the answers to the world at the network, but if we can slowly, piece by piece, try and make people more understanding that we are absolutely the same, then hopefully we'll get to a society that is more open and inclusive. We need those things. We need policy, legislation. We need movement in that sort of aspect, but we also need to address that as well.
What's your favourite memory of the LGBTQ plus community in Nottingham?
It's Pride every day of the week. It is a celebration of love and unity and community. It's also I feel needs to continue to be that protest, that advocating, that challenging, that visibility, but it's just such a beautiful day. You see families, you see same-sex couples with rings on, you see friends, you see people that are not quite ready and they're dipping their toe in the water, you see people that have been to Prides all their lives, you see young people, old people, it is such a celebration of like, I feel like everything I've talked about, kindness, compassion. So everything I've talked about is sort of, I don't know, shone in this sort of LGBT event. So I think that's why I mention it, and it's always great. I love Nottingham Pride. It is, I feel like, just the right size for me. It's not too overwhelming, but it also feels like a really, really big celebration, party, demonstration, protest. I feel like it's just a definition of community, everyone coming together. And the same I talked about visibility. When you are going to fetch your milk from Tesco and you see people walking down the street with placards they're not blue and they're not aliens and they've not got 3 feet, they're just people marching for what a lot of people take for granted. It's hard not to feel bitter that it's taken us longer to get here. I feel like there is a little bit of resentment in a lot of LGBTQ plus people that it is taken this long and we've had this many challenges, but the community is so resilient. We're so strong and we are not going anywhere. It's LGBTQ plus people have been here since the dawn of time, and we'll never go. As much as media and politics and all that stuff try to get rid of us, it's just not going to happen. And I feel like anything that we're faced with, even though it hurts, it really does hurt, even though you grieve a lot for people that are either taken too soon through taking their own lives or hate crimes. It hurts a lot, but also I feel like we just use that as fuel in our tank to just keep on fighting. And all these things we mentioned today, same-sex marriage, adoption, and all the other issues, I feel like we are close, and it feels so frustrating to feel like you are close and then have a setback. It does hurt to feel like you've almost got there and then to have something else happen. You know, people were marching decades ago and people marched this year in 2024 in Pride, so I would just say Pride.